Hi everyone, we're back again and we've got special guest George Scott who's joined us for a catch-up while there's no cricket at the moment. So morning George.
Morning, how's it going?
Yeah, all good, thank you. Thanks for spending some time out of your busy COVID schedule to join us. George, the members have sort of asked a few questions and we'd be grateful if you could give your answers and share a bit of your cricketing experience, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. So let's start from where you're from and where you grew up.
Yeah, so I'm currently here. I'm at my family home in Hertfordshire. It's in a village called Little Gadsden, which is about 5-10 minutes away from Berkhamsted. And I've been here since I was 6. Went to school at St Albans School. And yeah, I've always lived here. Then went to University of Leeds when I was 18 until 21, and then lived in London for a while I was playing for Middlesex, and they've obviously just moved down to Bristol.
Okay, so you've been a fair few places, but your cricketing started off in Herts, didn't it, in Hertfordshire?
Yeah, no. So I've played for Potters Bar Cricket Club since I was 9 or 10, and played in the Hertfordshire age groups up until I was 14 or 15, I think. And at that point, I was doing some one-to-ones with Middlesex and things. And then at 15, I moved across to the Middlesex Academy.
And how far is the academy from your place where you are now?
It's about 40 minutes. It's in Finchley, so we just shoot down the M1, and it's just off there. So actually, it was relatively convenient coming from the north. A lot of the guys who lived in central London had a bit of a hack through the city to get there every other day.
Yeah, that's why I asked. It could be a nightmare in London travelling at the best of times. But glad it wasn't too bad for you. And when you were at Leeds, Bradford MCCU, you were already part of the Middlesex setup?
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to get a summer contract when I left school. So there's a deal they do for guys who go off to university, essentially, who you have a contract when you come back from university for the summer. So it works quite well, really. Kind of you go off and do your uni stuff. You get to play the MCCU stuff, which is really enjoyable cricket and good training during the winters, and it lets you do your degree at the same time and then come back and play second team cricket for Middlesex when you're done at uni, kind of around back end of May time.
So, and what were you studying at university?
I did geography.
Okay, so geography sort of in the winter and then cricket in the summer?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And obviously quite a lot of training involved as well. So how did you find the studying and the training balance? Was it okay for you?
Yeah, no, it was all right, really. I mean, it's much worse for guys who do engineering and that kind of thing, where there's a lot more contact hours. Geography is a lot more manageable. Really, you have less contact hours, and they're often in the morning. So you kind of go do your lectures and seminars and things in the morning, and then we use the indoor school at Headingley. So we'd have that rented out from 1 till 4, say, so you could just go down there, have your one-to-ones or have nets and things during the afternoon, and then obviously if you've got more work, you head back to uni after that. A lot of the sessions are actually, because it's joint between University of Leeds and Leeds Beckett University. They do a lot of sessions like really early and really late in the day, so that it doesn't clash with anyone's schedules really, and I think that's pretty similar actually for all the university, for the MCCUs. So yeah, no, it works quite nicely.
Good. So it sounds like a good work cricket balance. But it was at Leeds that you made, even though you're playing second 11 cricket for Middlesex, it's where you made your first class debut, wasn't it, in 2015?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
No, yeah, I think it was Sussex, I think. Obviously, if you're in the MCCU system, you get to play these first-class games against counties at the start of the season, which is obviously a massive bonus, really, of the scheme. Yeah, no, it was obviously a great experience to start playing first-class cricket. I mean, I don't know if I played a single first-class game at university, which we actually played all 3 days because the weather's always dreadful. But obviously, it's great to be out there and get to play your first class cricket and get a little bit of a taste about what it's like to play first team stuff.
And how was that for you? Because obviously you've been in and around the Middlesex team, and you're getting experience of first class bowling. How did you find it taking that step up from university cricket to the first class game? How was it for you?
Yeah, it's a strange one because in some ways it's not ridiculously dissimilar, and in some ways it is. There are certain aspects to it where they're a lot more professional. Really, it's not like you've never faced bowling like that kind of thing or batting like that, but they're just much more consistent when they're batting as well. Really, and you get much less chances to kind of score runs, hit boundaries, and when you're bowling, they just like play much less loose shots and are willing to just bat for long periods of time and wear you down, really. And I think that's a lot of the time that is where university sides come short a bit, really, against these first-class counties. But it's a good lesson, really, to show what it's like.
I imagine if you have one bad session, that can be it for the rest of the match.
I mean, that's exactly it. Yeah, if you have a bad session against these counties, they really just tear you apart, and then you're behind in the game. And because they're obviously professional sides and we're not, it's unlikely that we're going to have those sessions, really. So it's about really just sticking in the game for the 3 days.
I mean, a great experience when you're at university, but that obviously stemmed the way forward for the last couple of years. So when you finished university, you went back to Middlesex, you're still on the Middlesex setup, playing a lot more cricket on the working staff there. How were the first couple of years after university for you at Middlesex?
Really different. I mean, this was also the first time I'd not been in education for the winter, so kind of knuckling down and literally just focusing on cricket all the time was slightly different, really. And it kind of gives you a slightly different perspective. I mean, cricket becomes slightly less of a release point in your weeks, if that makes sense. It was something you really like. You have your sessions every day, which you're really looking forward to at university and whatever and like that. But it becomes a real hard grind to get better during the winter, and then obviously when it's the only thing you're doing. And when I was lucky enough to be given my full-time contract, you have a lot of pressure to perform. Really, so it becomes slightly different like that. But I mean, I really enjoyed the last 2 years.
I mean, it became your job, well, as it would do as a professional cricketer. And you started off in make your way through the second 11, and then it was the sort of Vitality Blast that you got your first sniff of first team cricket, wasn't it?
Yeah, no. So they're lucky enough got my debut in 2015 in 2020 Blast, and over the next kind of 2 or 3 years, it was really the format which I was able to get involved in the first team, which was awesome. Obviously, it's the format where you get to play in front of big crowds and things like that. So that was obviously really exciting, but a massive learning curve, really, about dealing with the pressure of it all, and kind of thinking on your feet when you're in these big games, which is, to be honest, for the first time, are really, really important game. Like, it really matters how you perform in them. So obviously it was a big learning curve, but yeah, a lot of fun.
I can imagine. The full house at Lords must be quite a spectacle to be playing in.
Yeah, I mean, I think my third game was a full house at Lords, which was surreal, really. It's almost so overwhelming that it forces you to kind of just focus back. You can't take everything in, so you just end up focusing back on the cricket again. It's just one of those kind of bucket list things, really. So I was just delighted that I'd had the opportunity to do that.
And on that note, I mean, last year was a good year for you with Middlesex, runs in the Vitality Blast and the Royal London Cup. And also you made your first 50 in the county championship, didn't you, last year?
Yeah, no, I was really lucky last year. I had, probably for the first real season, I had a real role in the side in most of the first team cricket. We had a good run in the one day comp to the quarter final, unfortunately, where we got knocked out. But we got on a real roll, and I had a real role to fill in the side, kind of coming in at 6 or 7, and from kind of overs 35 onwards, and bowling most of the fifth bowler sets, really, which is given that kind of role in the side, really. To have it for the full competition really gives you that kind of feeling of being able to contribute to a campaign. And then, likewise, in the similar role in the 2020 Blast, and we got to the quarterfinals again, which was pretty gutting to get knocked out. And then, I played much more first class cricket as well. my first 50, but to be honest, I was pretty disappointed with the rest of the season. Really, I felt I've got quite a few starts and things like that, but didn't kick on as much as I would have liked. So that was a bit of a shame. But yeah, like I said, it was a bit of a breakthrough season for me.
Good. Glad to hear it. But talking of, this breakthrough season, what do you do as a cricketer? You said about the full house at Lords. Are there any sort of pre-innings rituals you go through, or how do you deal with that? It must be overawing.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really been that into kind of particular rituals and things like that. I know lots of sportsmen have strange and significant superstitions, but I've tried to avoid doing that really, and just try and relax at all times. And to be honest, I'm quite keen to take in these things. I mean, when I was young, thinking that I'd play in front of full houses of Lords and stuff is pretty unbelievable. So I try and take that in when I can, and kind of not forget, but sort of get away from the pressure really of it all before I go and perform, and then just try and switch into nothing else but the performance when I have to go out there and battle bowl.
Yeah, I can imagine it's a difficult one for some people, but you've obviously taken it into your game quite well. So last season was the breakthrough for you, as you just said, and then in October you moved to Gloucestershire.
Yeah.
So how are you finding it at the moment with Gloucestershire?
I'm loving it, to be honest. I mean, it's such a great group of guys. Like, it's a really tight knit culture at the club. I kind of knew that going into it potentially, because I knew Ryan Higgins well from Middlesex and the physio Dave Bartlett. And they'd spoken about how good the culture was and really how good the coaching and things were. And it was part of the real attraction of going to Gloucestershire. And it's really lived up to expectations for me. Like the guys are such a good bunch of guys, and they've really welcomed me and made a massive effort to get me included in everything. Really, everyone does everything together if they can, and it's a very family orientated club. So getting to know kind of the partners and the kids and things has been really cool.
Good. And so you were enjoying life in the southwest for a little,
Yeah.
obviously before COVID happened. You sort of, were you settled before the COVID outbreak happened?
Yeah, no, I was really, really massively so. I was really enjoying my time down there. To be honest, was really looking forward to getting stuck into some cricket with the guys, but obviously hasn't happened as of yet. Hopefully we can get out there at some point towards the end of the year. But I mean, we're kind of waiting to see, to be honest, from the ECB, and I'm sure the ECB are waiting to see from conversations they have with the government. So I mean, it's all slightly up in the air, but hopefully be able to get back down there soon.
Well, hopefully you can come down and contribute at both, Gloucestershire and Lansdown when time allows. But how are the squad keeping in touch? I mean, there's various platforms to keep in touch with during COVID, but what are you guys doing?
I mean, I'm sure it's much of the same as what most people are doing with their mates at the moment. But I mean, Zoom quizzes, Zoom chats, that kind of thing. Kind of trying to keep each other updated about what we're all getting up to and things like that, and motivating ourselves to stay fit and that kind of thing. So yeah, just that kind of thing, really.
Good. And I imagine now the golf courses are back open, there might be a little bit of a scope for the cricketers to get out on the driving range or on the course for some exercise.
Yeah, no, it's big news for us that we can get back out on the golf course. I mean, there's quite a culture of golfing really in cricket, I think. And yeah, no, it's especially with the weather being so nice as it is, it's so nice to be able to get back out there really. I mean, I can't really imagine what lockdown would be like if it was pouring with rain and dark at 4 o'clock every day kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, no, that it is awesome to be able to get back out and play some golf.
It'll be a good chance to hit some form of ball, if it's not a cricket ball at least. So
yeah.
Hand-eye can be improved. But you talked about sort of staying fit. You're having a couple of quizzes at the moment. Hopefully you'll be back down in the southwest sooner rather than later, and it'll be good to sort of see you around Bristol and in Coombe Park. But going back a step, when cricket was with us, who's the best player you've played with? Because especially in the 2020 Blast, you get a big cohort of overseas players. So who's the best you've played with, George?
I mean, AB de Villiers last year was definitely the best player I've played with. I mean, it was kind of really a different level to anything I've seen before. I mean, I've been lucky enough to play with a fair few really top players, and some of the overseas we've had, and some of the English internationals who obviously play for Middlesex. But yeah, no, AB was like, even just watching him in nets, it was just ridiculous batting, to be honest. Like, he makes really quick bowling look like throwdowns. Really looks like he's barely trying to hit it, and it just absolutely flies. And it's yeah, really a different level to anything I've seen. So yeah, no, I was very lucky to be able to play with him.
I can imagine he's a nice bloke as well, by all accounts, isn't he, as well?
Yeah, incredibly nice bloke. I mean, he makes a massive effort to give as much as he can to the club. I'm sure he does it wherever he goes, to on and off the field. Really, like he'd stand at the end of nets for hours chatting to the young guys about their batting and things like that, which yeah, which is surreal, really. Yeah, it's kind of try and take the opportunity to learn as much as you can from him, given he's willing to give it out. So yeah, no, he's just a superb overseas, to be honest. I mean, in the fact that obviously he performs ridiculously well on the pitch, but gives so much to everyone off the field as well.
A rounded package. Well, glad to hear that. Who's the best player you played against then?
I mean, weirdly, I've actually played against Brian Lara, which is kind of odd. But there was a Hertfordshire versus the MCC game to celebrate 200 years of Lords, and that was the first game of Lords. So that was the whole point of the event. And yeah, they persuaded Brian Lara to come and play for the MCC. So that was pretty ridiculous, to be honest.
Did you get a chance to bowl against him?
I actually don't think I did, sadly. But mind you, that wasn't such a bad thing. He was belting it all over the place, even though I was 50 or whatever it was at the time.
Yeah, and obviously that's in sort of like a bicentennial testimonial match. But on the first class circuit, obviously, again, you've played with international players overseas. Who's the best one on the first class circuit that you've come across, in your opinion?
I think. I mean, I haven't played him in a county championship game, but I played against Sangakkara in the 2020 for Middlesex. He was obviously played for Surrey for a few years at the end of his career, and that was really cool. I mean, he whacked it against us that day, but his record that couple of years, even though it was at the end of his career, was just obscene. I mean, he just absolutely manipulates fields and makes bowling look like everyone's bowling exactly where he's telling them to for the whole innings. So yeah, no, that was really cool. And like I say, it's just another case of being really lucky to play against someone who's obviously just that superb and is kind of an idol of mine.
And someone who can score runs in every format at the end of his career and still look heads and shoulders above.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at his stats in kind of ODIs, Test cricket, first class cricket, like let's say 2020, like it's just, to be honest, incredibly underrated. It's just ridiculous statistics. So yeah, no, that's pretty cool.
That's not a bad couple of people. De Villiers, Lara, and Sangakkara in one paragraph. Well done. But talking of sort of De Villiers and your time in the Blast, you must have some pretty special cricketing moments so far, and hopefully they'll be built upon in the next couple of seasons. What's your favourite cricketing moment so far, George?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I've been very lucky. Like I say, playing in front of a full crowd at Lords and things like that is obviously things which I never thought would happen. So yeah, that's kind of really, they were all kind of massive moments for me. I mean, I guess one which particularly stands out was last year we chased down 230 or something against Somerset at Taunton, which I've never really been in a chase like that. And to be part of it, I mean, I played a minor role given some of the batting which went on that day, but I was kind of able to be not out at the end and watch Morgan smashing it everywhere. Was kind of just one of those experiences which you can't really believe happened, to be honest, and you don't really quite appreciate it in the moment, just how cool it was.
I remember that game quite well because it was about, like I said, 230 runs. Abel's hit 100 in the first innings. You know, the highest score posted, I think, in first innings. Then you've got Milan going off, Sterling going off, and De Villiers flying. Then there's that Max Waller catch, the one over the top. And then Morgan and yourself are in at the end. And Morgan's hit, like you said, 80 odd off about 20 balls. What's it like from the other end? You must have been stood there sort of, well, you're pretty
Well,
relaxed, as you said, as a cricketer, but how was it from the non-strikers?
I mean, it's kind of strange being involved in games like that because you don't really have a gauge about what is really good. I mean, it was very flat pitch and Taunton's very small ground, and kind of when you're fielding, you're just seeing the ball fly everywhere and everything's going for 4 and 6, and you kind of don't know whether to think we're an absolute strife here or whether it is easier than you think it will be or whatever. So you kind of have no gauge. And then obviously Sterlo and David Milan went out and smashed it at the start of our innings, and you kind of think, oh, well, maybe it is possible. But I mean, you can be 80 or whatever it was, or 90 off the power play, and still you've got 140 runs to chase down. And so a lot can go wrong. And then you lose a couple of wickets and suddenly it's a massively different game. And then Morgie goes and does something like that at the end of the innings, and you end up winning with like 2 overs to spare or something. And it's just like, you kind of just like, what on earth has just happened? Like, this is not like any normal cricket I've seen or played before. But yeah, like I say, you're kind of just in the moment, kind of trying to contribute and do your bit and not let anyone down and get there. Really, it's only kind of after you think this is just ridiculous, really.
And if anyone who's watching this wants to go and watch the highlights again, I thoroughly recommend it, because you will see George put one into the stand as well. So you've contributed on that platform as well. You're not just giving a strike off to Morgie. But finally, George, thank you for your time. And what are you looking forward to at Lansdown when you do get to play for us, hopefully this season? What are you looking forward to this year with Lansdown?
Yeah, no, I'm just really excited to get. Obviously, I mean, I've got no club down there. I'm moving from London. I'm just really excited to get involved with the club. I know it's actually a club that's got quite a lot of history and stuff. And I've met Jordan and Sean obviously at the top of the club, really, and I'm just really excited to get involved. And I mean, I love playing club cricket because I can just get kind of stuck into the game, try and contribute to the games, kind of thing. I mean, it's nothing more particular than that, then meet the guys off the field and things like that, and just have that real community. And I've heard only good things about Lansdown, so I'm just really excited to get amongst everyone.
Good. Well, we're equally as excited to have you down here, contributing and helping to the club's success. And I imagine you're going to be a favourite with, like you said, with Gloucestershire, with the family-orientated side of things. So you'll find that Coombe Park a very, very close club. Everyone sticks together. But George, thank you so much for your time. Please look after yourself.
Likewise.
And keep in touch, all right?
Yeah, thanks very much, Sam.
Thanks, George. Look after yourself.